So next slide, please. Now, before I tell you about designing the power supply, let me tell you something about how to design electronic circuits. Means what should be in your mind when you are designing an electronic circuit. And because you must be having groups, and in each group there may be 3 or 4 students, hmm, who will be working together. So how to work in a group, all these things. I'm just before starting with the power supply design, let me give you a little piece of my mind about designing. Slide, next slide, please. So if you want to design an electronic circuit, you must have thorough knowledge of the components of what that circuit. That means whatever component you are using, even if a small resistance is to be used, you must have thorough knowledge of that component. Okay? And therefore, you must have all the references available. I think in your college, there are number of reference books for different types of component. Catalogs are there. So just go and read those catalogs and understand what are the properties of that component, what are the dimensions, etc. Everything. Okay. The reference should be handy. Now, fortunately for us, internet is available. So you take the help of internet, you just mention the name of the component and you can get the complete catalog of that component on the internet. So that is also possible. Next. Next slide. So you may take the help from the internet. Now there is another way of saying this. As far as components are concerned, you should certainly take the help of internet. But as far as the circuit is concerned, suppose I want to design a timer. Okay, I will put timer in the internet and I will get large number of circuits. Okay, it's not necessary that each circuit should be able to work. Many people just without understanding they upload the circuit and those circuits do not work. I have an experience. I went to one college to take the practical examination of the project, and the student brought me their project. I asked them, does it work? They said no. I said it will not work. By seeing the circuit, where you got the circuit from? They said we got the circuit from the internet. This may happen. So as far as components are concerned, there are well-known manufacturers who post their catalogs of the components, and you can certainly believe on that and you can take that. But as far as circuit is concerned, don't trust internet. I'm not saying that all the circuits may be wrong, no, but still you don't trust the internet. Next slide. Okay, as I said that all the circuits which are uploaded in the internet may not be correct. There is another thing. If you design your own circuit, you will certainly be happy. You will have the satisfaction and happiness of the creation that yes, I have designed it. That happiness must come to you. Okay, just getting the circuit from internet doesn't give that happiness. Next slide. And as I said earlier, you must be working in a group, and that just don't think of yourself only. There are other members who may be equally useful to complete the work. I remember I was taking Viva of one group. A girl was answering all the questions, and she was constantly saying, I did this, I designed it like this, I did this, I did this. I told her, please use the word we. She must have done a lot of work, but there must be other people who must have done some little work. So never use the word I, always use the word we. When you're working in a group, you must have this mentality. Each of you, Maybe one of you must be very intelligent and another, or there can be a person in your group who is not that much intelligent, but still you must have taken some work from him. Next slide. You can see in a group, every person needs help. Next slide. And you must never end up like this in a mess. Once your design is complete, you have made the thing, your design should not be like this. Okay. Next slide. So let us start with how to design a DC power supply. Okay. I'm giving an example of DC power supply because I know that this is the electronic circuit which will be required by each batch. Whosoever is making a practical project or making a hardware project, they need a DC power supply. Next slide. So DC power supplies are needed for operation of almost all electronic circuits. Okay. Next slide. Now, in the process of developing an electronic circuit, you are required to develop a suitable DC power supply also. Next. So DC power supplies can be unregulated or it can be regulated power supply. I think all of you must be knowing the meaning of the word unregulated and regulated. Otherwise, anyway, let me explain. A regulated power supply, the output voltage is constant, independent of the fluctuation in the mains power supply, independent of the load current which is flowing. So such power supply is called regulated. An unregulated power supply, with the fluctuation in the main supply, the output voltage of the power supply will vary. With the fluctuation in the load current, the output voltage will vary. Okay. So depending upon what kind of application you need the power supply for, you can have regulated power supply or unregulated power supply. Next slide. So unregulated power supply can be used when the fluctuation in the voltage are acceptable. Your radio set, a small variation, small means about 10 to 15% variation in the voltage is acceptable. You will not find any difference in case of a radio. Okay. So most of the commercial equipment, they don't spend money on power supply. They better go for regulated power supply. But nowadays, because the regulated power supplies are becoming cheaper and cheaper, people have started using regulated power supply in some cases. Next slide. Next slide. So regulated. So examples are commercial audio amplifiers, radios, electromagnetic relays. Electromagnetic relays, if I purchase from the market a 12 relay, you will be surprised to note that they work even at 8 volt. They even does not damage when the voltage is 16 volt, a 12 volt relay. So why should we go for regulated power supply for relay? Because relay takes large current. Your power supply rating will increase necessarily. So it is always desirable. Whenever your circuit is there, you make one part of the power supply should be unregulated so that that can be used for the relays. The relays take large current and therefore it is better that we go for unregulated power supply. And as I told you that even 8 volt will operate the relay and even to 16 volt, the relay will not get damaged. Then motors, sometimes motors, you don't need the fluctuation, you don't bother about the fluctuation in the speed, then you can use unregulated power supply for the motor. Okay. Next slide. So regulated power supplies are certainly necessary when fluctuations are not acceptable. But then The regulated power supplies are costlier because you have to add an IC to regulate the power supply, so you have to spend more money. It is costlier, certainly. Next slide. Now, this is the block diagram of a regulated power supply. Main supply goes into transformer, then it goes to a rectifier, then a filter, and then regulator, and then regulated output. Why do we need transformer? Okay, certainly we want to step down the voltage. Okay, but there is another very useful idea of using a transformer. Suppose I want a 230 volt supply, then I will not step down the voltage. But still, a transformer is desirable because there is an isolation between the main supply and your circuit. So a transformer, apart from stepping down the voltage, it provides isolation between main supply and the electronic circuit which you have. Okay, that isolation helps in reducing the noise and many other things. Okay, so next slide, please. So here is the analysis of unregulated power supply. You can, on the figure 1, you can see a power supply and there is a source resistance and there is a load resistance. And you can see that if the source resistance is 0, then you have a flat horizontal line as the characteristic. That means the output voltage remains constant. If the source resistance is 0, with the variation in the load resistance, there will be no variation in the output voltage, so your power supply is constant. But when there is a source resistance, which is non-zero, you will see that the output voltage will go on dropping. Okay, as the load current increases, the output voltage will go on dropping. If the source resistance is more, then output voltage will go on dropping more. Okay, next slide. Now, there is a term known as load regulation. Now, load regulation is defined as the source voltage minus load voltage divided by load voltage, and for percentage, you multiply it with 100. So you get the percentage load regulation. And in different books, there are different definitions. There is another definition some authors have defined like this: source voltage minus load voltage divided by source voltage. Okay, that is also another definition of load regulation. Okay, now this is always defined in percentage. Next slide. And there is another term which is used, is line regulation. What is line regulation? Line regulation is the variation in the output voltage with the fluctuation in the supply voltage. When the supply voltage fluctuates, the output voltage also fluctuates. Okay, that is line regulation. In our simple rectifier circuit, there is no regulator. Then whenever the supply voltage drops, the output voltage will also drop. Whenever the supply voltage increases, the output voltage will also increase, and that is called line regulation. Okay. Next slide. Now there is third term known as ripples. Ripples means, suppose you have a rectifier, full wave rectifier, then you get this curve. It has lot of AC in it. It's not constant DC. The voltage is fluctuating. It is going positive and again becomes 0, and then again going positive but becoming 0. So these are called ripples. What are ripples? किसी शांत तालाब के सामने खड़े हो जाइए आप और एक पत्थर उठा के डाल दीजिए पानी में. जैसे ही पानी में डालेंगे लहरियां उठेंगी, and these लहरियां, they are called ripples. Okay, so when you connect a capacitor across the rectifier, the ripples will stop. will reduce. But moment you connect the load, you will find that ripples are again there. The capacitor will charge, fully charge at the peak voltage, and then capacitor will start discharging through the resistance. Again, when it reaches the next cycle, again it will charge full voltage, again it will charge. So there will be ripples. So ripples are normally they are defined as peak to peak ripple. That means what is the maximum value of the ripple and what is the minimum value of the ripple. This is peak to peak ripple. Okay. Next. So we have this circuit. Let us design using a single diode and a capacitor and resistor, the load. Load is known to us. We have to find out the value of capacitor and what diode should be used and what transformer should be used. Okay. Next slide. And we can use two diodes. Okay. With two diodes, center tap transformer. I need not explain this circuit to you. You must have studied this. Next slide. You can have four diodes. Okay. Bridge rectifier. Next slide. So in full wave rectification, you can see that the rectifier converts the waveform into the second one, the bottom one. And what should be the distance between the two peaks? So let us first calculate that. Our power supply in India is 50 hertz. So 50 hertz means 50 cycles per second. That means between what will be the time duration of one waveform? One wave, what will be the time duration? 50 cycles per second. So 1 upon 50, okay, that will be 20 millisecond. Okay, so the 20 millisecond. 20 millisecond is the distance between one peak to another peak. That is also agreed. Complete cycle. From one peak to another peak, the main supply will have 20 millisecond. Once it is rectified, the bottom peak has come to the top, then the distance between the two peaks will be 10 millisecond. Is this clear to you? I hope it is clear. So you must keep this in mind that peak to peak in a full wave rectifier, the distance is 10 milliseconds. This you should keep in mind. Okay, next slide. So now when we have filter capacitor connected, what will happen? Through the diode, the capacitor will be charged. It will be charged up to the peak. But when there is a resistive load, the capacitor will start discharging. And it will certainly discharge exponentially. Okay? There will be exponential discharge. And you can see from the diagram, it appears that it is about 7 milliseconds. That means it discharges for 7 milliseconds and then again it charges. Then again discharges. This is not actually accurate value. We call it empirical value. We have just taken it. 7 milliseconds. Next slide. So let us take the first example, designing an unregulated power supply for operation of two 12-volt resistive loads, each having resistance of 200 ohm. Actually, this resistive load is a relay. There is an electromagnetic relay of 12 volt, which has a resistance of 200 ohm. So two relays are to be operated, suppose. Okay. So that means 12 volt divided by 200 ohm, that is 60 milliamp is the current of each relay. Because there are two relays, the total current will be 120 milliamp. Next slide. So let us take peak to peak ripple. Let us now here again we have to accept certain things. Let us say that the peak to peak ripple, we will take only 2 volt. You can take 1 volt, you can take 0.5 volt. Depending upon this, the capacitor value will change. So taking, let us say 2 volt is the peak to peak ripple. That means the maximum voltage will go up to 13 volt and minimum voltage will go up to 11 volt. Okay. So the voltage across the filter capacitor can therefore be like this. VC equal to 13, maximum, that is the maximum voltage which is going 13 e raised to minus t by tau. So in 7 millisecond, voltage across capacitor becomes 11 volt. Therefore, 11 will be equal to 13 into e raised to t by tau, where t is known to us. If t is known to us, only tau has to be calculated. You know the method, and this I have calculated that it is coming out to be 42 milliseconds. That means the time constant is 42 milliseconds. And what is the resistance? There are two resistances of 200 ohm in parallel. That means resistance is 100 ohm. Therefore, we can calculate the value of the capacitor, which is coming out to be 420 microfarad. Next slide. Now this 420 microfarad will not be available in the market. No problem, you go for the higher value. So you go, what is higher value available? 470 microfarad. Okay. So you go and buy 470 microfarad capacitor and connect it in the circuit. Now this will certainly reduce the ripple, because instead of 420 you are using 470, ripple will be slightly reduced. Next slide. So let us take now another example of a regulated power supply. Okay, suppose I want a regulated power supply of 12 volt and the load current is 200 milliampere. And it is also given the main supply fluctuation is plus minus 10%. That means 230 volt can be 230 volt plus 10%, or it can be 230 volt minus 10%. So this is main supply fluctuation. Next slide. So here is the circuit. There is a transformer with a bridge rectifier, and then there is capacitor number 1. How I have arrived to this value of the capacitor, we will certainly design it. In our design it will be taken. Then the capacitor number 2 for taking sudden fluctuation in the output load, and certainly I have already informed you about the capacitor number 3, which is for taking the spikes of very short duration, taking consideration of that spike. Okay. And there is an IC 7812. Now this 78 series ICs are very nice and very useful ICs. Let me tell you something about these ICs. ICs are available for 5 volt 7805, for 6 volt 7806, then for 9 volt 7809, 7812, 7818, 7824, etc. Okay. These ICs are positive power supplies. Like that, there is 79 series ICs which are for negative power supplies. 7905, 7906, 7912, etc. So these power supplies have these power supplies are for delivering 1 ampere current. Only 1 ampere current they can deliver. Okay. And another thing, that these power supplies can withstand, can take care of the high overloading. They will go on getting heated up. If the temperature rises beyond a certain value, it will automatically stop. Many times students came to me, say that, sir, I have changed 3 times this IC and every time the IC is getting damaged. I checked it and I touched the ICs. I found that it is getting heated up because of the load. Okay. So to no problem. So IC
सर ऑडियो इज ब्रेकिंग इन
does
बिटवीन,
not.
वॉइस क्लियर नहीं है.
This IC है इस बहुत बेहया IC है ये आसानी से.
सर अभी हाँ अभी ठीक है.
Is this okay? Okay.
यस सर, थोड़ा सा लास्ट के
What I can repeat certain part.
2-3 लाइन.
कहाँ से?
हाँ यस सर.
इसी फिगर पे. Okay. Then let me again explain the whole thing. There is a transformer. It's a step down transformer. Then there are 4 diodes for the bridge rectifier. Then there is capacitor number 1, the value of which we are going to calculate. Then put it. Okay, it is already written there. Then the capacitor number 2, about which I have already explained in my previous lecture, that it takes care of the sudden jumps in the current. Okay, and then capacitor number 3, which takes care of sudden spikes in the circuit. Then I told about the IC. IC is of 78 series IC. It's a 3-terminal IC. There are 7805, 7806, 7809, 7812, 7815, 7818, etc. Now these ICs are very nice 1 ampere ICs. That means the output current is 1 ampere. And these ICs have another advantage, that they stop working if the temperature of the IC increases beyond a certain value. They stop working. और मैंने ये भी बताया ये बहुत बेहया IC है, ये आसानी से डैमेज नहीं होता है. I have the experience of guiding the students. Some of the students come to me and say that, sir, IC is not working. I have changed it 3 times. 3 times they are damaged. I told them that they don't get damaged. That means that if your IC is stopping the output, that means your IC is getting overheated. And the only solution for overheating IC is they put a heat sink with the IC. If you put the heat sink, the temperature will go down and then the IC will continue to work. Okay. Only thing is that the current should not be more than 1 ampere. That is important. I suggest better go to the internet, ask for the catalog of IC 7812. You will get the catalog and you read it properly. There are certain important things, that input voltage should not exceed a certain value. Then there is a small amount of current flowing in the 3rd terminal, which is going to common. There is a small amount of current. Note that current. And as I told you, the output current. Okay. Next. So unlike unregulated power supplies where the filter capacitor discharges exponentially, this is another very important thing to be noted. We know that in case of unregulated power supply, the capacitor discharges exponentially through the load resistance, because as the voltage goes on reducing, the current goes on reducing, and therefore it exponentially discharges. Okay, but in case of IC, if you have already fixed output voltage and your fixed load, then the output current is constant and the input current is almost the same value. Why? You apply Kirchhoff's law, the input current will be equal to the output current and the biasing current which flows through the flows into the common terminal. Now that biasing current is very small, about 7 to 10 milliampere. So if that current can be neglected, you can see that the input current is almost constant. So input current is almost constant, and therefore it's a constant current discharge of the capacitor. It's not exponential discharge of the capacitor. This is very important. Okay. Here the load current is constant, therefore input current is almost constant, and therefore there is constant current discharge of the capacitor, not exponential discharge of the capacitor. This should be noted. Okay. Next slide. Yes. So here I'm showing the diagram, with constant current discharge of the filter capacitor. Again, we can take the total time of discharge as about 7 milliseconds. No problem. Okay. Next. Will have a waveform as shown. Okay. And the bias current of IC, as I told you, is about within 10 milliampere. And another important thing that this 10 milliampere is not variable. It varies very little. Therefore, this is also constant. Therefore, input current is constant. Okay, we can take input current as 200 milliamp only. Okay. Next. So now, at the input side, at the input of the IC, let us take the ripple of 2 volt, peak to peak ripple of 2 volt. Okay. From that, we will calculate the value of the capacitor. Okay. So capacitor will therefore discharge from Vmax to Vmin. Okay. This will be a constant current discharge. V maximum minus V minimum equal to 2 volt. Okay, next slide. Next. Okay. Next slide. Okay. So it is constant current discharge of the filter capacitor, as I earlier also told you. The peak to peak voltage is 2 volt, and there is a constant current discharge of the capacitor. Next slide. So V minimum equal to V maximum minus 1 upon C integration of I input current dt. Is it okay? So from that, I can calculate the value of the capacitor as 700 microfarad. Is this calculation clear to you? Just go through this calculation. So this is, from this calculation, we have calculated the value of, from this, we have calculated the value of capacitor as 700 microfarad. Okay. Now 700 microfarad is not available in the market. Next value, which is, we should not go for lower value. We should go for higher value. So next higher value comes out to be 1000 microfarad. So therefore, we have calculated the value as 1000 microfarad. Okay. Next slide. And we, from this 1000 microfarad, we can again recalculate the Vmax and V minimum from our equation. And we now find the peak to peak ripple as 1.4 volt. Certainly peak to peak ripple has reduced. No problem. Okay. Now from the data sheet of IC, we see that minimum input voltage required so that the output is 12 volt. The minimum voltage required is 14.5 volt. That is from the data. Unless the input voltage is 14.5 volt, output will not be 12 volt. Okay. So to be on the safer side, let us decide V minimum as 15 volt. So what will be the V maximum? V maximum will be 15 plus 1.4. That is 16.4 volt. That means V maximum, the peak voltage which is coming into the IC should be 16.4 volt. That should be 16.4 volt. Next slide. So peak voltage of input of the IC should be 16.4 volt at a current of 200 milliampere. Okay. Now because of such a high current, there will be voltage drop in the diodes also. You know, all of you know that the diode, silicon diodes have some characteristic. You know, the cut-in voltage is about 0.5 volt. But then as the voltage goes on increasing, the current goes on increasing exponentially. And we can see that at 200 milliampere, the voltage drop will be approximately 1 volt. So each diode will drop 1 volt. And in a bridge rectifier, there will be 2 diodes which are coming in the path of the current. That means there will be drop of 2 volts in the diodes. So at the input of the bridge rectifier, the input voltage should have a peak value of 16.4 plus 2, that is 18.4 volt. Next slide. So the peak voltage at the input terminal or at the output terminal of the transformer should be 18.4 volt. Next slide. This is the input voltage, which is minimum input voltage required. This is the minimum input voltage required so that the IC works properly. Okay. Now, this is the output of the transformer, and the transformer at that time is delivering 200 milliampere current. Okay. It is it's delivering current which is equivalent to 200 milliamp at the output. Okay. So this current, when this current flows into the through the transformer, there is a voltage drop in the transformer also. Okay. Now, if we take voltage regulation of the transformer as 5%, that means when the current is flowing, there is a voltage drop of 5%. So the no load voltage of that transformer should be 5% more. Okay. Next slide. So the peak voltage generated by the transformer therefore will be 18.4 divided by 0.95 to increase it by 5%. So that becomes 19.37 volt. So this is the minimum voltage which is required to be generated by the transformer. This is the minimum voltage which is required. But the voltage of the transformer should not be less than this. Okay. But then there is main supply fluctuation. So this voltage should be corresponding to main supply minus 10%, because the fluctuation given is plus minus 10%. That means this should be for the input voltage, which is main supply minus 10%. So this is the minimum voltage required. Okay. Then when the main supply is normal, this voltage should be increased by 10%. So we increase this voltage by 10% for main supply. Next slide. So we increase this by 10%. That means we divide it by 0.9 and we get 21.52 volt. That means we need normal input voltage. The peak value of normal input voltage should be 21.52 volt. We can calculate the RMS value. It comes out to be 15.21. So let us take that we go for a transformer which has normal output voltage of 15 volt RMS. Okay. I hope this is clear to all of you. Next slide. Now, main supply voltage has a line regulation of plus minus 10%. Therefore, transformer peak voltage will rise when the voltage, input voltage is more than normal, up to 10%. So the maximum output voltage will be 23.67 volt. Okay. Maximum output peak voltage will be 27 and 23.67. Now, this is the output voltage of the transformer. Okay. From that, 2 volt will be reduced again. So it will be 21.67 volt will be coming into as the input to the IC. And from the catalog, we can see that the maximum voltage which is allowed in the IC is 28 volt. So that means our design is safe. Okay. So our transformer rating is found out. We need a transformer of 15 volt, 200 milliamp. Okay. Capacitor value is calculated. Next slide. So we can also have a circuit like this. Here you can see that there will be only 1 volt drop in the diode. In bridge rectifier, there are 2 volt drop, here in 1 volt drop. So you have to design it accordingly. Next slide. We can have, just by using 4 diodes, we can have positive, negative power supply. You can see that we have used 7812 and 7912. Okay. So we can also use just a single bridge rectifier to give us a plus minus power supply. You know that in op amps, in some op amps, we need plus minus power supply. Next slide. Thank you very much. If you have any questions,